Greetings, gentle listeners. This is Dave Ashton holding it down on the special Fun Drive edition of Metro. Our host today is going to be Ean Thomas Tafoya, bringing you, as you're used to, every Tuesday, this in-depth and ongoing coverage of very complex issues that are challenging our community. Ean Thofoya works on lots of levels. You've heard elected officials, activists, community members. These Tuesdays have gotten really hot, and today's show is no exception. We know you've been tuning in, really getting grounded with these local voices. So now is your time to make sure to fund them. And let's get on to today's show.
Welcome, gentle listeners. You are listening to Metro here on KGNU, Boulder, Denver, and Fort Collins. My name is Ean Thomas Tafoya. I am your host here on KGNU. Every Tuesday, bringing you social justice, environmental justice, economic justice. The last few weeks, I've had some people coming in to talk about the legislature, to talk about environmental issues. Is something that we have a lot of regular guests on. And I'm happy to say that we have a guest back, a friend of mine, Madhvi Chittoor, who is a youth activist, a climate activist, fighting for clean water, taking on public policy. It's really quite amazing. But before we go to Madhvi, we're in the middle of the fun drive at KGNU, and we're celebrating real radio from real people. And to me, this means I have the opportunity to bring community voices onto Metro every week that otherwise would not be heard. We can't make the changes we need to ensure the success of future generations if only the voices raised in the media are those that are sponsored by corporate interests. KGNU is only available to remain independent thanks to the support of dedicated listeners. Please make your donation now at 303-449-4885 or online at kgnu.org. So yes, please, listeners, please go ahead and jump in, support us, support the great work we do to bring all sorts of speakers to you. Recently, we've had Regional Transportation District Director Chantel Lewis on our show. We've had Councilwoman Candy Sidabaka, both activists fighting very hard. Councilwoman Christy Douglas from Commerce City. So those are just a couple of the people we've had on lately. But now back to Madhvi Chittoor, a friend of mine who I've had here on Metro before. Like I said, an activist who is doing the work. And, that's the value I really believe in my activism, is that you have to be out there doing the work. That being said, Madhvi, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
So Madhvi, tell us about what's going on. How are you doing? How's school going?
Yeah, so everything is actually going very good. So I'm going to North Arvada. I go to North Arvada Middle School, and I have good friends, and the school is just nice in every way. I even have lockers now.
Oh, yeah, so you don't have to drag your books to school. I remember that when I was in advanced class, I'm sure. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, yes, like Ian said, so I am Madhvi Chittoor, 10 years old, and I'm a climate justice activist and a zero waste champion. Last month, I was selected to be part of the United Nations Global 12-member Children Advisory Team. I was also voted as the best upcoming peacemaker by 14 Nobel Peace Prize laureates of Peace Jam Billion Acts. And also, all listeners, please visit my website, www.madhvi4ee.com for all my climate justice work.
Oh, wow, Madhvi, that's the first that I had heard about this 12-person word. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So yes, so the UN actually made this children advisory team to formulate the general comment number 26, which is the official United Nations guidance on how children's rights are impacted by the environmental crisis and what governments must do to uphold these rights.
Wow, that's so cool. Have you had a chance to have a meeting yet? Like, you're meeting with people from all across the globe?
Yes, we had actually a meeting pretty recently.
Are people able to tune in and see you doing your thing, advocating for peace and youth rights? Like, are these open meetings for the global people?
No, these are not open meetings. These are for the 12 people only.
Okay, well, it sounds really cool. I did Model United Nations in high school, and we're seeing now why the UN and peace is so important with what's going on in the world. So, Madhvi, we're here to talk about a month, right? PFAS month. Can you talk to us about what a PFAS is and why is there a whole month to it?
So PFAS, it stands for a group of human-made chemicals called per- and polyfluoroalkyls. They confer waterproof, greaseproof, and non-stick properties when added to consumer products. They do not break down in the environment, so they are also called as forever chemicals. They can move through soils and contaminate drinking water sources. They build up in human bodies, in fish, in cattle, in farm animals, and in wildlife. I have been raising my voice against PFAS since 2018 when I was 7 years old. And even in the climate rallies in 2019, I highlighted the dangers of PFAS and urged the government to ban them. It is high time we ban these PFAS chemicals. So it is actually March right now. And guess what? I worked with the governor of Colorado, Mr. Jared Polis, to declare March as PFAS Pollution Impacts Awareness Month. It was a 6-month effort to make it happen. We have March also as Women History Month, but to focus primarily on climate crisis, pollution, and public health, I wanted March to be declared as PFAS Pollution Impacts Awareness Month. If you remember, I worked with the then governor and current senator, John Hickenlooper, to declare April as Plastic and Styrofoam Pollution Awareness Month.
Yeah, Madhvi, I mean, I think that's really great. I would agree with you 100% that it is time to ban PFAS. And it's very possible that it could be possible. I think that there is the only thing stopping us is the political will. And so you got a little bit into the science there, or what the uses are, right? So you're talking about nonstick pans. It was once in firefighter foam. If you have shirts that repel stains or water, these are the kind of products are in. But it's also in food products, like Madhvi was saying, in strange waxes, possibly popcorn. I mean, there's so many strange things that wrap around our food these days. It's important for you to take a look at that. So, and Madhvi was telling you, it goes up the food chain. It goes into your body. It lives in the water. We're not sure if we're in a position yet to actually get them all completely out of the water. These are conversations that I have personally with the EPA, with the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment. So, Madhvi, do you think that in all your work there with Jared Polis for 6 months about awareness, do you feel like he's committed to tackling this issue and banning PFAS?
Yes, I feel very committed. So I actually feel very motivated to actually ban the PFAS because it's hurting the environment so much.
Yeah, but do you think the governor is committed to beyond just education? And you get to meet with him, right? Do you feel like he wants to work to a place where we don't have PFAS hurting us anymore?
Yes, he does feel like that. He is also very motivated. He really wants to also ban the PFAS.
Great. That's great to hear. So it's great that we have awareness a month. Since we're talking about awareness, Madhvi, you and I think we've talked a little bit before, your mother as well, about ProPublica, and they say that Colorado is one of the top, if not the top state for pollution from these chemicals. I think it's really important because we're the headwater state, right? We share water with so many people on this continent that I think it's really important that as water protectors, we protect our space. When you found out that Colorado was one of the worst, have you gone to share that? And like, is that, do you feel like that's helping you convince elected leaders to do the right thing?
Yes, sir. Actually, that helps actually a lot to convince these elected leaders to do all this, to actually do the bill and to actually pass the proclamation, to declare it. It actually really helped them get convinced, and I'm definitely very happy.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that we'll see legislation this year. I'm hopeful that, we'll see all legislators come forward. I mean, it's pretty hard to dispute the science about the amount of pollution that there is. I do want to take a second too to let the listeners know that I am helping CDPHE with Green Latinos to put on a webinar this March 19th at 1 p.m. And it is called What is Water Reuse and How Can We Reuse Water Safely to Drink? So Green Latinos is partnering with CDPHE to spread the word about water reuse in Colorado and how you can get involved in a proposed regulation. As the population of the state of Colorado increases, so do the demands on water resources, and a variety of strategies are being implemented across the state to address gaps in our water supply, and about direct potable reuse, which is one of those strategies. Direct potable reuse is recycling water. That's another name you've known as. Come join us, Green Latinos and CDPHE, to learn more about the technology, safe practice of direct potable reuse, and how you can get involved. Again, it's this March 19th from 1 to 3 p.m. We're going to discuss the water cycle and how we can use water safely and reuse water safely, how reuse of water is voluntary and the state is developing rules to make sure it is done safely, your thoughts and concerns about water reuse, and how you can provide comments as this is going on throughout the rest of the year. So this fall, they're going to be setting rules. If you're tuning in from Aurora, I think it's really important for you to know about this. This is a place where they are talking about using recycled water. And so we hope that you can come and learn. I'm really interested to hear the feedback from the community, to know what is of interest to them, what their concerns are. Okay, so talking with any elected leaders or nonprofits who are working towards banning PFAS, like who do you work with on that?
So yes, I have discussed with State Representative Ms. Lisa Cutter in July of 2021 about PFAS bills for Colorado, modeled after the Maine bills. And also Representative Ms. Cutter has initiated it, and she introduced me to Conservation Colorado and Sierra Club about a month back. Latest update on it, and 2 weeks ago, it was still in the discussion stage. I also discussed with Ms. Brianna Titone, and she is supportive of this bill. So I take this opportunity to request the Colorado legislature to take a bold action on PFAS, just like Maine. I had held a policy discussion with CDPHE in March of 2021, when it was discovered that some courts stealthily pumped PFAS into Sandy Creek. I also discussed with CDPHE on source mitigation as being the ideal solution to solving this PFAS problem. Source mitigation would imply banning of these intentional additives in products and packaging by manufacturers.
I think there are a lot of people there, Madhvi, that are in agreement with you that these toxic chemicals are dangerous, that the best way to take them out of the environment is to eliminate them from putting them into the environment. They shouldn't be in the products that are here. So, we thank you for your advocacy there, Madhvi. We're going to go to break here, and we're going to come back on the other side. And we're going to continue our conversation about other issues that Madhvi is super passionate about.
You know, I think people been doing too much talking. Talking about right, wrong, war, peace. But what I'm talking about is unity. Unity under this groove. Let's everybody come together now. Cause this groove that we are putting down ain't about to wait for you to decide the why, the what, the how. Step on the floor and settle in. Let the speed be your medicine. No, this ain't a debate. Listen to what we say. We your teachers teach you lesson. Get up and clap your hands. Oh, what it is. Don't you see what we're coming with now? What we're spreading across this land. Go on, tell them. It's love and unity. You know, I think some people are trying to come against it, though.
And we're back. Really excited. I hope you enjoyed the musical break. I'm Ean Thomas Tafoya, coming to you not in vivo. I'm actually recording this one with Madhvi. Madhvi is a student putting in the extra work, and I was happy to accommodate them. But normally I come to you live from Arapahoe Square and in the Buell Media Center. We're in our downtown studios of KGNU. But, you know, the real thing about KGNU is we're in the middle of our fund drive. And I just want to talk about how this fund drive at KGNU, we are celebrating real people and real radio. And to me, this means I have the opportunity to bring community voices onto Metro every week that otherwise would not be heard. We can't make these changes we need to ensure the success of future generations like Madhvi if the only voices raised are the ones in the media that are sponsored by corporate interests. KGNU is able to remain independent thanks to the supporters and dedicated listeners like you. Please support bringing leaders like Madhvi onto KGNU by making your donation at 303-449-4885 or online at kgnu.org. So listeners, we're back. We spoke on the first half, really learning about Madhvi, who's been an activist for many years, had a huge impact. She hasn't even talked about her nickname, Styrofoam Ninja, which I love. She's made an album. She's telling us she's been, working now with the United Nations, which is absolutely amazing. And we came back from break with her talking to us about how this is PFAS Awareness Month, how PFAS is a dangerous chemical, actually a classification of many chemicals that industry has been putting into the water and into you and into our food and onto our clothes for many, many years. And you heard Madhvi there, I think, make a plea and a request to leadership to stop this now. And as a young leader, I stand with you as well, Madhvi. I think it's time for us to eliminate toxics from our community, to take on toxics. So Madhvi, though, well, now that we're back, I think we're going to pivot to talk about a couple other issues. You know, I hear that there's electric school buses is also being talked about this year. A fair amount of money, I understand, like $100 million is being discussed. Have you had a chance, or are you excited about the possibility of electric school buses?
Yes, I'm definitely very excited. So in passing the bipartisan infrastructure investment package, Congress provided $2.5 billion in funding specifically for zero-emission electric school buses and an additional $2.5 billion for all types of low-emission buses, which could include electric buses of all types, school, municipal transit, and others. Electric school buses reduce the pollution. In 2020, transportation is the number one source of a greenhouse gas emissions in Colorado, and Denver ranked 12th in the U.S. for ozone pollution. Electric school buses, they have zero tailpipe emissions and 50% reduction in greenhouse gases compared to gas emissions compared to diesel. Governor Jared Polis's budget asks for $150 million for electric school buses is enough to replace hundreds of diesel buses over the coming decade. diesel exhaust is linked to many health problems like lung cancer, asthma, bronchitis, and pneumonia. In addition to protecting children's health, transitioning to electric school buses is a major step toward addressing the climate crisis. Electric buses would significantly reduce carbon pollution, helping to mitigate climate change.
Have you had a chance to ride on an electric school bus or an electric bus yet?
No, not yet.
I think it's really important that youth voices get involved. How would you recommend to any of our listeners they do better outreach with youth on these issues?
To help with youth, so youth have a very big voice, and people need to let youth. They need to raise their voice, and they should stand up for these kinds of issues, like me, and that's going to also help. They can go and convince the corporations, and also my website and the social media. And also follow me in my social media. I just wanted to tell that.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying people can connect with you if they want to do more outreach to youth. And you're saying that
Right.
It's really, really important. Are there youth groups that you work with that community members can reach out to try to build more power and to empower young people? I heard you say Peace Jam earlier. That was one I heard you say. Are there other works you're involved with that you would recommend?
My own nonprofit can actually help. It's called Madhvi for Eco Ethics.
Madhvi for Eco Ethics. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you shared that with people. In the closing minutes here, Madhvi, can you tell us about your nickname, Styrofoam Ninja, and tell us about recently what's going on the Capitol around waste?
So yes, for No Styrofoam Ninja, I am a black belt in Taekwondo, and I actually wanted to raise awareness. Also in my martial arts classes, so I made this No Styrofoam Ninja, also to motivate other youth and other martial arts students.
Yeah, and Madhvi, and you work to remove styrofoam plates from Jefferson County lunches and breakfasts and meals?
Right, I have. So I have done two I first wrote a letter to the then superintendent of Jeffco Public Schools, Dr. Jason Glass, and I also did two signature campaigns. I got 2,000 signatures. I also showed those signatures to him, and then he did an FNS task force. And after all of that, the switch happened on September.
Well, that's so wonderful. I know that's such a huge effort. And Jefferson County, I believe, is one of, if not the biggest school district in the state. So it's really impressive. So recently you went to the Capitol to testify around silverware and kind of a waste bill. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So I have testified for the bill HB 2022-1134. It is measures to reduce single-use meal accessories. So,
Madhvi, the bill you're talking about is it's a bill to reduce the plasticware that you're given when you order takeout,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. So businesses are also part of a civic society. So we cannot remove businesses out of the civic equation by not giving laws for them. This bill also helps with source mitigation. This bill helps with source mitigation And I've seen in many trash cans unused, I repeat, unused flatware, napkins, starters being thrown, and they all go to the landfill, and they are all not recyclable.
Yeah, I know what you mean. When I went to Metro State, I worked on getting composting to the whole area campus for 3 universities, and I used to stand there and say, put that in the recycling, put that in the compost, put that in the trash, and people would just throw plastic in the compost. They didn't even want to talk to me. It's challenging to be ringing the alarm about these problems with toxics and trash that are building up on our planet and feeling like people aren't heard. But I do know that you can be heard. Madhvi showed you. You can change the rules in Jeffco. I've showed you. You can change the rules at your university. Madhvi and I work regularly talking to representatives and senators and community members. It all starts with taking the first step, and that's showing up and doing the work, whether that's a public meeting, a phone bank, a door knock, all of it. You know, you can be the change that you want to be. Please follow Madhvi. Madhvi gave you her socials and her handles. She has a website, a nonprofit. And you can follow me at Ean, E-A-N, Tafoya, Tafoya.com, or at Believean, Believeean, because it's Ian with an E. So grateful to be on here with you today, Madhvi, and I hope that we'll have you back soon. Keep fighting the good fight.
Oh, please, before we go, I want to say something. So, I am organizing an international PFAS pollution awareness seminar on March 26th via Zoom. I request all the listeners to register for it in my website. So the registration form, it's a Google form that is in my website. So yeah.
Contributed during Metro, the afternoon news and public affairs block today on International Women's Day. This is womenpoweringchange.org. Go to kgnu.org. Call 303-449-4885, and your dollars will be doubled all the way through the end of our public affairs block today. Make a call, 303-449-4885.